everybody. Welcome to the weekly beer show. I am your host. My name this week is Nate Lombardi. I'm sure for most of you that are joining us and have been here before, you're probably wondering, where's Travelman Dan? Where's Danny? Where is our host? He's unfortunately not going to be joining us this week on the weekly beer show. I'm sure he will be here in spirit. Right now, he is on his way back from Saigon, Vietnam. That means the duties of being show's host fall to me. That is either good or bad. We haven't figured that part of it out yet. I'm guessing it's going to be so-so, right? But for those of you who are joining the show for the first time, we typically review 2 beers. There's 2 hosts. We go to a scorecard. It looks a little bit like this. We've got 5 different categories to get to a potential score of 25 points. For those of you that are returning, thank you so much for returning. For everybody that's out there, please hit and subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button. This helps out the algorithm with YouTube and helps them help us. So thank you guys for showing up. I'm a little bit nervous, but I think we're going to have a pretty good show. So if you guys are there, you can comment. If I'm a little bit lagging on some of this stuff, it's because I'm doing it all by myself, but I am excited to do so. All right, we're going to jump right into the first beer. We are doing it a little bit differently this week. This is the NFL opening weekend, and we're going to talk just a little bit about that before we get into the first beer. So right here, I have what I call the weekly beer show's guide to NFL opening weekend. There's a lot of people that follow this show that are here. What's up, Brett? How you doing, buddy? That show here that are from around the world and don't necessarily understand what's going on with American football. Yes, American football is not soccer. Okay, you see that little ball in Josh Allen's hand right there? It is oblong in shape. It is used to be thrown, not to be kicked necessarily. There is a kicking element to the game, but it's a very small percentage. But that's what we're going to be talking about this week. And why is there 3 beers and not 2? Well, I looked at this as an opportunity to talk to people about how to properly drink and what to properly drink on an NFL Sunday. So the way that the NFL works on Sundays is you have a first series of games which starts at 10 o'clock or 1 o'clock, depending on where you live. It's 10 o'clock on the West Coast. It's 1 o'clock on the East Coast. And that's the first round of games. There's about 8 to 9 games first round. So for a lot of people, especially the first weekend of the NFL, people get really excited. They want to see what their team is going to look like with the new acquisitions of free agents, of the draft, new coaches, new GMs, new quarterbacks, new players, whatever. Everybody gets all jazzed up. They're all excited for 10 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday. That means beer. So what I want to talk to you about is what beer should you be drinking on a full docket of NFL games, starting at 10 in the morning, going all the way potentially to about 8:30 at night. The last thing you want to do is just be guzzling double IPAs. You'll probably make it till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Your eyes will be crossed and you'll be done. Sorry, guys, I do have a lot of comments here. My brother, what's going on, Brendan? Thank you for joining. Dave, beer in front. How are you, man? We're talking a little bit of NFL. We got 3 beers to review. Thank you so much for joining. We got Rob, my good friend from New Jersey. Carlos Z, what's up, man? Just left Vegas earlier today. I guess that's why there's so many Bills fans there this week. Yeah, absolutely. It was a big weekend for the Bills. The Bills and the Rams, last year's Super Bowl champions, the Los Angeles Rams, played on Thursday night. I believe the score was 31-10, less competitive than probably most of us expected. I had a little bit of money on the over, didn't work out in my favor. But all in all, it was fun just to see football. I did have a client event on Thursday night. We were at a place called Circa Stadium Swim. If you've never been there, next time you're in Las Vegas, check it out. Just going through these comments, football and booze. He's absolutely right. It's whether you approve of that or not is irrelevant. That's exactly what happens on football Sundays, and much to the chagrin of a lot of bosses on Monday morning. Chug, 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 whatever it is, says my friend Rob. So we're going to hop right into the beers, right? So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why we're doing 3. The structure of the show is a little bit different. We don't have our main host here, Danny, but I guarantee you he's going to love this show. So I'm going to go right to the beer. Now, again, like I said, it's a marathon of drinking. You're starting at 10 in the morning. You're not finishing till 8:30. Don't drink stouts. Don't drink 7.5% IPAs. Your palate's going to be overloaded. Your stomach's going to be bloated. you're going to be too drunk. You're not going to be able to make it to the Sunday night game. But there's options out there. All right. There's options out there for people that want to do session drinking. What is session drinking? It's me having more than one at a time. Maybe it's 5 or 6 at a time. Maybe it's 10. I don't know. But I will tell you this, you can't do 10 drinks at 7.5%. Maybe Rob can, but I can't. So today's beer, we are bringing from Anchor Brewing. That's based out of San Francisco. They've got a little low-calorie beer. It's 100 calories here. It's got a little bit of fruit to it, but it is a golden ale, and this beer is called the Little Weekend from Anchor. So why did I choose this? Well, I just dropped it, 3.7%. So now you can have something that's not a macro, like Brendan's saying right now. It's not a Michelob Ultra. It's not a Bud Light. It's not a seltzer. It's an actual beer, right? Made with better ingredients. At least that's what you hope. That's what the expectation is, right? Now, Anchor, just to give you a little bit of information on them, I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I believe they were bought out by all right, I'm back. Sorry, a little bit of technical difficulty. I had to switch my Wi-Fi. But anyway, so this is what we're going to drink. You guys all know what we do. We crack them, smell them, and taste them. I'm going to be using a Teku glass for this. I do want to break out my football glass from the Twins out of Buffalo. We'll be doing that with a Pilsner in a little bit. But we crack them, smell them, taste them. Let me start this process here. Anchor, Little Weekend, which is definitely overflowing. Sorry, guys. It's a little bit out of the frame here. That's because it was overflowing right into my lap. Not necessarily great, but that's what happens from time to time on a beer show. So right away, after you crack it, there's definitely this beer, just to give you a heads up, right? It is a golden ale. It's a light golden ale, 3.7%. And it is a light golden ale with natural mango flavor. So I wanted to find something that was a little bit different than just going a standard beer route. Crack them, smell them, and taste it. You would, says Mike Bernstein, completely agree. Sounds like a t-shirt. Also agree. So let me try this one on the nose. I'm getting a little bit of grass, definitely some cereal there. There's not a whole lot in the nose. I'm not getting any mango at all. I am probably still dealing with about 80% of my smelling ability since I got COVID, so maybe that's part of it. But right now, I'm not picking up any mango. Decent amount of head there. Really nice color on the beer. Really nice color on the beer. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to taste this thing. That's good. That's a good beer. Very crisp, approachable, drinkable, very, very light. When you look at this, it doesn't look that light. Like there's a bit of haze in there. There's a bit of character inside that beer. Nice retaining head. Tells me there's a decent amount of quality in there. You know, there's some lacing as I kind of see that. See what kind of clings to the side? It's a good sign. There's a tinge of fruit. It's not a fruity beer. So for those of you that don't like fruity beers, I'm kind of one of them. I like it when they use hops to bring out the fruit flavor. I don't like it when they use adjuncts. An adjunct is something that's not part of the 4 ingredients: water, yeast, grain, and hops. They're putting adjuncts in there. That means they're using fruit. Maybe it's pulp. They're dumping it in, and that's how they're getting the flavor profile. When it comes to this, I'm not sure how they made it, but a lot of times you can pull a mango flavor out of a hop. So for this, I like it. And man, is it light. Super light. Like you can easily have 3 or 4 of these, no issue at all, right? You can definitely drink this beer over and over again. So guys, that's the first beer. Let me take you on a brew tour very, very quickly. And as I mentioned before, the 3 beers I'm talking about all have to do with an NFL Sunday. So I wanted to show you right here. These are 9 games that start at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. And I can guarantee you a lot of people that are watching football on Sunday morning are cracking a beer at like 8:30. Right? They're cracking a beer at 8:30, and they better be drinking something like this. Because if they're not, it's going to be a shitty day, and they're going to be lights out by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But as you can see, 9 games, start early, something clean, something crisp, something that's going to kind of just get you into the day, right? Don't get slobber knockered, as Danny would say. That's not the point of this, right? You're just trying to ease yourself into the day. Here you can see Anchor Brewing. There's their credentials down below. Ray's Anchor Brewing is their new website, since I believe they were bought by Sapporo back in 2017, 2018, something like that. They've changed their branding, so this beer can is very different than what their old Anchor Steam bottle used to look like. They used to be bottled beer. Now they went to cans. There's an element there of kind of keeping up with the Joneses and the craft beer world. Anchor's not really craft anymore. They can't be when they're bought by a place like Sapporo. They're more of a regional brewery, but I still consider it to be better than a Bud Light option or a Coors Light or a Miller High Life or something similar to that. So if you want to check out their website, their IG or their Twitter, go for it. Anchor's got a lot of good content. Check them out. Really good beer. They are located, as I mentioned before, San Francisco, California. For those of you that don't live in the States, California is that big state over there on the left. San Francisco is in the central northernish part of the state, not very sunny and beautiful like San Diego or Los Angeles. It's more of a Mediterranean type climate. San Francisco is an awesome city, used to be a lot more awesome, but it's a great place to check out, and their beer scene's pretty top notch. Today's beer, the Little Weekend. So as I was just talking about, this is a golden ale. So golden ale, of course, has to do, there's pilsners, there's ales, there's lagers versus ales, right? It has to do with the fermentation process. You've got a top fermentation process and a bottom fermentation process. An ale falls under the IPA category, stout category, right? So they are a top fermenting type of beer, style of beer. The next beer that we'll be doing in the next couple of minutes, I got to be conscious of time, by the way. I'm trying to do this in 1 hour. Let's see if I can do it. The Pilsner is a different style. It's a different style of brewing. It's a different style of fermentation. So for this one, it's a golden ale, 3.7%. The untapped ratings, I did not fix that. There is a miss that I have. It's not 455,000 check-ins. I believe it's like 900. But their score is correct, 3.3 out of 5. When I'm drinking this, I'm kind of getting a 3.3 out of 5 beer. It's enjoyable. It's easy. It's easy to drink, and it's approachable. Right? We'll get into the score. We'll get into the review in a little bit. But I like the beer. Pretty good. So I wanted to share this. There's their Untapped score right there. If you guys do not use Untapped and you are beer fans, download the app, go to the website. It can tell you if there's unicorn style beer like a Heady Topper or let's say an Allagash or something, and you are in Montana, you go on Untapped, you type in Allagash, you press find it. It'll tell you where beers are if they're in your local area, where you can find them. It's a really powerful, fantastic app. And right there, it gives the score of about a 3.3 on 455 rating. Sorry, not 455K. So it's a pretty good score. What I'd like to do here very quickly is bring this a little bit bigger. The one beer we were most excited to try is Little Weekend. This is a review that I found and just wanted to share it with you guys. A very sessionable, low-calorie beer that arrives in time for summer beer drinking season. This Mango Golden Ale is surprisingly full-bodied and flavorful considering it only has 100 calories. They're not wrong about that. This doesn't taste like a 100-calorie beer. It tastes like it's about 200 calories, and it probably tastes like it's about 5%, not 3.7. 6.5 grams of carbs while arriving at 3.7% ABV. Little Weekend is brewed with Eureka, Calypso, and Haas 431 hops that are balanced out with pale and Vienna malt. That's the golden side of it. This provides a slight nose of mango fruit that finishes crisp and dry. So again, it is not a fruit beer. It is a beer that uses the hops to get a fruit flavor. That's what I like. That's what I prefer. This hits the nail on the head. Little Weekend is ideal beer to have at lunch as it's both low in alcohol and calories, more flavorful than light domestic beer, macro, while still staying true to an iconic San Francisco craft brewery. So that's my little brewery tour on Anchor. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the NFL opening weekend. So I dropped this one in the beginning. Hold on, let's go through some comments here quickly. What's the point, says Rob. Completely agree. What's the point anymore? My friend Rick just hopped in to say hello, but time for bed. I get it. Good night, all. That beer looks delicious. Thank you. It is. I think you should try it. Good night, Patrick, from Cindy. Danny's sister's here. What's going on? Lisa, hi, guys. Rob, is it seasonal, though? Can I buy a SPAC in October? I don't think so. This one, I think, has actually been replaced by a newer version, which is a hazy IPA, low-calorie, 99-calorie beer. I think it's called Easy Weekend. So you want to check that out, Rob. All right. So as we kind of get into the breakdown of the NFL's opening weekend, I wanted to tell you guys on the structure of the NFL. We've got two conferences, right? If you guys are unfamiliar with the NFL, two conferences. On the left there, you've got the AFC, the American Football Conference, and on the right, the N, which is NFC, the National Football Conference. Each side has 16 teams. They try to battle it out in each conference to eventually meet in the Super Bowl. Here is all of the locations of those teams. You can see all the way up in the northwest part of the United States is Seattle. They might as well be in Alaska. My team is on the right at the Pennsylvania mark there, which you can't really see, but it is the Eagle. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And Danny's team, just to the top left of that, is the Buffalo Bills. So we did already have a game this past week. It started on Thursday night. Like I mentioned before, I was at Circa. I was able to enjoy that. It was a great game. It was even better because the team I wanted to win, the Buffalo Bills, won. They won 31-10. Kind of an overpowering win, too. Even Buffalo had like 4 turnovers and still won by 3 touchdowns. So NFL, look out. Danny, good luck. It's going to be an awesome season for you. Tailgating. So when you go to a game, what do you eat? What do you drink? A lot of it happens before the game. It happens in the parking lot, and that's called tailgating, right? Everybody's got a jersey on. Everybody's got a beer in their hand. They could be funneling that beer. They can be doing a keg stand. They can be doing shots. When it comes to food, you see a lot of food out there: barbecue, hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza, nachos, wings are a big deal for football, especially at home. But when you're tailgating, you would be shocked to see some of the tailgate scenes in a lot of these stadium parking lots. It's a lot of fun. And guess what? If it's a 10 a.m. game, those people are there at 7 a.m. and they're doing this. So if you guys are there at 7 a.m., make sure you're drinking a little weekend. Your day will go by much, much better. Food and drink. So what do they drink? I just talked a little bit about it. To be honest with you, football food is not my favorite. Right? It's a lot of deep fried stuff. It's a lot of not necessarily food that's good for you, but you're there for an experience. You're there to support your team. You're typically drinking, so your inhibitions go out with the wind. Typically, people just eat whatever they want. But a lot of barbecue, a lot of burgers, a lot of hot dogs. It's kind of like 4th of July food, to be honest with you, done in a parking lot. As we talked about, wings, hot dogs, burgers. That's a lot of what they drink there. I found this slide to be quite interesting. Tailgate trends across America. So 18% of meat that's eaten for a football game, or even in people's houses, they were just polled, is 18% is ribs, 68% is burgers. That's not a shock being in America. 12% are wings. On the sides, you can see chips and dip. I was going to say that even before I saw that. That's something that anytime you go over to somebody's house and watch a football game, there is a large bowl of wavy Lays or something similar with some sort of a sour cream dip option with it, or a 7-bean layer or something or other. We love our dips. Small apps, pigs in a blanket, pinwheels. I don't even know what that is. Pinwheels. I think it's kind of like a wrap that's cut into pieces. And then egg rolls. I've never seen an egg roll necessarily at a Sunday football brunch or lunch or whatever you call it, but they're saying that that is part of the 29%. Show us how to funnel. I forget. I'm not doing that. I don't even know where my funnel is. Explain a funnel. What's that? Brendan and Rob are thinking the exact same thing. No brats or sausage. Dave, you're right. But I mean, I guess hot dogs would fall under the sausage category, even though we'd be kind of lenient with that terminology. But yeah, brats and sausage, especially where Dave's from. He's from Chicago, which is not too far from Green Bay in the Midwest. A ton of brats, ton of sausage. So yeah, this is what you will typically eat on a football Sunday. And this is what you will drink right there, out of a can, in a parking lot, and thrown on the ground. If you're inside the stadium, you will see garbage cans overflowed with cans, aluminum bottles, which is a trend that I hate. But you'll see a lot of this. So this is typically what you're drinking on a football Sunday, particularly at the game, right? So no dumplings. You know what? You're probably right. Not a lot of dumplings going to be eaten on football Sundays. Love dumplings. So true, says Bernie. Thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate it. But now we need to kind of go to the first review of this beer since we've only got 40 more minutes and I'm right on pace here. All right, so we're going to go to our scorecard. Let me please preface something about the scoring because I made a little bit of a change, but it's only for this show because I'm just testing it out. So as every single beer that we do, I go to the scorecard. We got taste, price, style, and accessibility, and an X factor. But I wanted to change from accessibility to something called notoriety. I had an epiphany. I don't know, maybe it was about 3 or 4 nights ago. And we've been doing a score called accessibility, which means how easily can you get a particular beer? Now, if you follow the show, you know that we drink a lot. Hello, Marie. We drink a lot of craft beer. Those are local purveyors, local creators, people that are part of your community that are trying to sell you something that they make, usually with better quality ingredients, and they're trying to just scratch an itch of the local market. Right? On the macro side of it, of course, you've got massive distribution all over the world. You can be the king of beers like Budweiser, and you're going to get a score of a 5 out of 5. But something like a Heady Topper, which is considered maybe a top 3 beer in the world, can't get a perfect score because you don't have access to it. But that's by design. That's not a fault of the brewer. They're doing it because they want people to go to the brewery, right? Their shelf life of those beers is about 90 days. So they're trying to give you high quality, drink as quick as you can. We just made this batch of beer. Boom, come to our brewery. We're going to give it to you. You can't get it anywhere else. That's called exclusivity. And I don't think that breweries like that should be negatively pinged or dinged on the score because they are trying to service their local community. So what I'm proposing today is notoriety, only for today. I haven't even talked to Danny about this. It just came to mind about a day or two ago, and I thought I would throw it in here just for today. So we're going to go. The first one, as you know, is taste. And on the mango beer, I'm going to give this a solid 3.0. 3.0 out of 5. It's a good beer. It's very drinkable. It's a slight tartness to a golden ale, very, very slight, right? It's at the end of the palate. It's not something that's super over the top. It's not a sour beer. It's a golden ale. So it's very clean, very crisp, has a little bit of tartness, has a bit of mango, but not too much. The nose is nice. On the taste, I really enjoyed it, but it's not overwhelmingly great. That's probably has to do with the segment of the beer, 3.0. Now we go to price. This beer, one single can is $2.29. If you're at a bar, it's super cheap. But if we're talking about buying this as a single, typically on the show, we're just going out and we're buying singles. I think the price is fair. I don't think it's great. I'm going to give it a 2.5. Okay, 2.5. Next one is style. So we talk about the can. What does it look like? So I like this can. I think it's a little underwhelming. I like the color palette. It works really well with a mango. You kind of have like a mint, almost Miami type green, Miami Dolphins, as we talk football, a bit of green there, a little bit of the orange. It kind of does look like a Miami Dolphins uniform, doesn't it? But not a lot on here. It does make sure it tells you that there's 100 calories. It gives you a brief description, like golden ale with natural mango flavor, big flavor, little guilt. So they give you a story, which everybody here knows. I am a massive fan of telling a story about the beer. Little Weekend is packed with juicy mango flavor and weighs in at just 100 little calories. Life is about making tough decisions. Beer shouldn't be one. So go have a Little Weekend. I like it. I'm going to give it a 3.5 for style. Now, first time ever on the show, we're going to talk about notoriety / accessibility, right? Notoriety, Anchor has a massive following in California and on the West Coast. They just do. They're very branded. They've rebranded since Sapporo bought them. But when it comes to accessibility, if you are outside the continental United States, you're going to struggle to find this beer. And if you look for this one in particular, you're definitely going to struggle. So even the notoriety, I feel like there's a good brand awareness for them. So I'm going to give them a decent score. And then, of course, the ability to get this out to the public, it's a little bit of a ding there. I'm going to go a 2.5 on notoriety for Anchor's Little Weekend. That brings me to the last category, which is an X factor. I like this beer. I think exactly what I'm talking about is drinking it early at 10 a.m. on a Sunday before you have to work on a Monday. You're not trying to get completely shit-faced. You want something that's going to keep you going, energize you, a little bit of gasoline for the day. And I think that this is a great option at 3.7%. So for the X factor, I'm going to give this a 4.0. 3 plus 4 is 7. 3.12. 16.5 is my total score for Little Weekend. And if those of you that have been back to the show or watched the show before, 16.5 is basically our demarcation, our cutoff, or our line, Mason-Dixon, whatever you want to call it, for what we think is a good beer. If you're at 16.5, you're a good beer. So, guys, that is the Anchor Little Weekend. It is time for us to move on to the second beer. I got to crack it. I'm slightly behind schedule here, but I'm really excited about this beer. Okay? So we are going to go to this glass. And earlier, Brian Little, I believe it was Brian, was on here, and he said hello. I got this football mug from the Twins, who are great friends with our main host, Danny, Travelman Dan, and they sent this to us. Thank you so much. It's the first time I think I'll be using it on the show, and I thought it was apt considering it is NFL's opening weekend. What is the beer we're going to be putting into this? We are going to go super local. We're not doing ale this time. We're switching over to a lager / Pilsner. Remember, there's a different fermentation process. This is called Excited State from Able Baker. Now, I've reviewed Able Baker beer before here. I believe we did the 5 pepper porter and one other. I think it was a sour. But this beer right here, 5%, super drinkable, approachable. Now as we get to the second round of games, right? You've already done the super crushable, super drinkable Little Weekend by Anchor. For the first 3 hours, you got yourself from 10 a.m. to 1:15. 1:15 game start. Now you want something that's got a little bit more pop. Now for this, I didn't go super heavy. I wanted to keep it a little bit light and drinkable and approachable. And I believe that this beer still does that. This is the same alcohol level as a Budweiser, but it's just better. This one's at 5.0%. What do? We crack them, smell them. Woo, grass. Tons of grass right there. Tons of grain, just getting a lot of grain. So Damien, how you doing, buddy? It's no problem if you're late. Thank you so much for joining. I know it's a new time slot. We're just testing things out. Let me get through some of these comments real quickly right here. I think Odell's has one of the best accessibility craft beer ratings. Odell Brewing out of Fort Collins. Am I right, Bernie? Please tell me if I'm right. I think Nate is sexy. Thank you so much, Rob. By the way, I paid him to say that. Couldn't agree more, Robert. How many anchors you have, Rob? Great question considering what he said. FYI, Nate Dog, I'm a Pilsner guy. Let's go. So we already cracked it. We smelled it. Ton of grass. A lot of grain, very light. There's not a huge nose on it, but we're just going to dump this thing in. Dave's TV. I see you, man. Just give me a second while I pour this beer. Look at the size of this mug, by the way. This is a 16-ounce beer. And it's just, I mean, it's not even halfway. All right. Cracked it. Smelled it. Nothing to write home about on the nose. Now it's time to taste it. Guys, happy football weekend to everybody out there. Thank you to the Twins that sent us this awesome beer mug. Super excited to drink out of it. Here we go. Going to try Excited State by Abel Baker. That's good beer. That's what beer is supposed to be. Right. So in the haze craze and the new community of beer, everybody's adding things in. They want more flavor, more pop, more marketing, right? They want everybody to be wowed by their beer. They want to have a lollipop flavor, gummy bears, cookies and cream, avocados probably on the docket or coming soon, right? Which is great. There's a great market out there for people that want to try new and exciting things. But at the end of the day, sometimes all you want is beer. You don't want any bullshit. You don't want any fruit. You don't want, somebody sticking a hot dog in there and calling it a hot dog beer. You just want beer. What Excited State is just a beer, but it's done really well. So the taste on this, I'm really enjoying it. Woo! Love it. 5.0%. I will say this. As I take that last sip right there, there's a bit of booze in there. It's a little boozy. It kind of tastes like it's about a 6.5%, 7% beer, not 5%, which I'm kind of on board for. This is an alcoholic drink. I don't need it to be boozy like a stout or boozy like a double dry hopped IPA, but a Pilsner to have a little bit of element like that, just to kind of shock your palate. I like it. I am in an excited state. That is true. Always, says Rob. All right, we are going to go to the brewery tour. All right, before we get there, remember, early games, 10 a.m., second round games, 1:25 p.m. So at this point, Rob's probably about 8 beers deep, Brendan about 6, me about 5. Well, Brendan's 6 and I'm probably 6 too. But anyway, you can see why you need to have a bit of a sessionable beer early in the morning, right? But now we've gotten to 1:25, 4:25 if you're on the East Coast. So you're right in the middle of the day. You don't want to go something super heavy on the palate, super heavy on the stomach, super heavy with ABV, because it's going to knock you out. You're not going to be able to watch Sunday Night Football. So what you want is something that's contained, something that's crisp, that's clean. It's not overbearing your palate. You can drink it. You're not getting bloated. And if you don't want to get super bloated, my friend Dave's TV, who's watching right now, completely dump your beer in like this into your glass. Let all of that head bubble up. Let the effervescence come out. Let some of that stuff get out before it gets into your stomach so you don't feel so bloated. Love that little tip. I don't know if it's necessarily accurate biologically, but I love it. Abel Baker Brewing. You can check out the credentials right there. Pretty good website. They have an IG presence and a Twitter presence. Big fan of Abel Baker Brewing. If you're in Las Vegas, please go check out their brewery. I'll go with you. I'll buy you a beer. Here's where they're located. Nevada. They're in that beautiful red state on the West Coast, just bordering California. And of course, Las Vegas is in the southern quarter of the state. That state borders California, Arizona, and Utah. Today's beer is the Excited State. It is a German Pilsner, and it tastes like a German Pilsner. Untapped rate. Damn it, I did it again. It is not 960,000. It's 960 check-ins at a 3.73 out of 5. And I think that's a fair score. When it comes to a Pilsner, you're not unfiltered Pilsner, by the way. You're not going to get a ton of high scores. It's almost like when you watch a horror movie or you see scores about a horror movie. Typically, they're low, right? It's like, I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because so many people have varying opinions on horror movies, but typically they're low. Even when like a good one can be rated 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. It can be a stellar movie. It's the same thing with a Pilsner. At 3.73, that's pretty high for a Pilsner. If you go and you look at Pilsner Urquell, which is kind of the mecca, right, out in the Czech Republic because of the hops that they use that they keep right there locally, even that is probably like a 3.6. And that's considered the best Pilsner in the world by a lot of people. And you're right, Dave. Going to need to have you flying for an afternoon. Do it for a weekend. You let us know. Give us a heads up. We'll do a show. We'll go do a brewery tour. We'll get Danny here. Absolutely. We'd absolutely love it. Abel Baker's awesome. And right here, let me just kind of adjust this a little bit. Sorry, guys. In atomic terminology, when an atom or nucleus possesses more than its normal energy, it enters into an excited state. That's both the name of our German-style Pilsner as well as the condition you'll achieve after tasting it. We start with an elegantly traditional malt base and add just a touch of Vienna malt for a bit more toasted malt character, and I'm definitely getting that. Vienna malt, then hop this crispy, easy drinking lager with traditional German hops for a distinctive yet smooth, flavorful, and bitterness. That doesn't make sense. When excited state atoms decay, the excess energy is released in form of gamma rays and fluorescence. While we promise that you won't hulk out after drinking this brew, you may choose to sip and bask in the glow of the excess energy this beer possesses. I just love that. I did a terrible job of reading it, but I love that. I like that they tell you a story. This is straight off of their website. Great job, Abel Baker. You're getting a little bit cheeky there, which I appreciate. Really enjoying it. Damien, it could be a classic like Silence of the Lambs, though. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It could be a classic. I think that's probably rated over 90%. But anyway, so that's where we're just kind of drop the lead there. We're going to remove this here for a second. And yeah, guys, this is a really good beer. If you have the opportunity, you're in Las Vegas, please visit me. Dave Z is going to visit me. Danny can get here pretty much anytime. Where is my eraser? There it is. I need to get a new board here so we can do a quick score. And this score is going to be a good one. What is our time? 7:36. Guys, we are on point. All right. This is called Just State for here. Boom. Taste, price, style, notoriety, X overall. All right, so for taste, let me taste it one more time. I mean, I know I should be finishing them. I didn't finish the first one. I am drinking 3. Fuck it, I'm gonna finish it. That's a good Pilsner. All right. Excited state. Let's score it. For a taste, I'm going to go 4.0. When it comes to Pilsners, I like this. Malty, bit of cereal in there. Definitely some pepper. I'm getting a bit of pepper. There's a spiciness to it. It's on the back of the palate. I really, really enjoy that. But overall, clean, crisp, approachable, 5%. Perfect beer for you to be drinking for the second round games. All right. Price. We got this at $3.75. That's a little bit expensive. Now, it is a 16-ounce can versus a 12-ounce can. So volume comes into play. But when it comes to price, considering I'm a local paying $3.75 for this beer, I feel like I should be paying a little bit less. 2.5. Gonna go 2.5. When it comes to style, all right, big fan of this. I'm a big fan of the red, white, and blue. NFL is a uniquely, and football is a uniquely American experience in sport. And this part of the reason why I chose this, because it's very promotional of America, very promotional of our colors and Old Glory. So I kind of wanted to make sure that was a part of this weekend. I like the can. It tells you a story. I think I've already read it. Interestingly, America's oldest brewery. Wow, I can't even see it. I'm not going to read this, but they tell a story. My eyes are terrible. I need readers, guys. Sorry about that. But they tell a story. I like the color profile. They got their name on here. It's tough to find the ABV. So I'm going to go for 3.5. I like the style. They tell a story. It's very Abel Baker in terms of their brand. I like it. For me, I'm going to go 3.5. Now, notoriety. Right? Accessibility, they would be a 1 or a 0.5. You can't get it unless I send it to you or you come here and you get it. So because it doesn't have that outreach, doesn't have the distribution, but here locally, this is the number 1, in my opinion, brewery in Las Vegas. So the local notoriety of is if you come to Las Vegas, you're going to go to Abel Baker or Beer Zombies, right? You're going to go to one of those two places. They offer a really good beer for locals. So I'm not going to go super high on that. Their accessibility is not great, but they do have some notoriety here in the local market. And of course, they're a craft brewery that does a really good job with their beers. I'm going to give them a 2.5 on notoriety. X Factor, Las Vegas beer, NFL opening weekend. I really like this beer. I really like the artwork. I like the taste. The style's cool. I'm going to go a 4.5 on the X Factor. That gives me a 6, 10, a 17 is the score for our Excited State. Just slightly beat the Little Weekend. So as you can see, Excited State by Abel Baker, a score of 17. Very well done, guys. Good job. Really good beer for the second round of games. You know what time it is? It is time for everybody's favorite segment of the show. Bernie, sorry, before I get there. See, I'm not great at this. My transitions aren't great. I need to get better at that. Bernie says, don't chug it. Sorry, I already did. It's all over my pants. Yep. Eye catcher for sure. Spell effervescence. I think he means effervescence. I can spell it for you later. It's not spelled like that. Barrow, what's up, buddy? I hope everything's all good in India. Danny is on his way back from Saigon, Vietnam to Los Angeles, so he's not joining the show, but I guarantee you he knows that you're saying hi. He misses you. Can't wait to see you next week. Good morning to you, Barrow. All right, so our favorite segment of the show without our host who typically does it, we are going to do what we like to call on the show, What Would You Rather? We're going to go over to this one because I like it better. All right, so as Danny would say, I'm going to give you a ticket. You can go to one of these two places. We're going to keep it NFL themed. All right. We're going to send you to a stadium. You can go to, number one is going to be the classic, the tradition, right? Lambeau Field for the Green Bay Packers. Look at that place. It looks like Fenway Park. It looks like old Yankee Stadium, right? The outside's had many renovations over the years. You can see the inside on the right there. Still more of a flat kind of ascending bowl with bleachers, I believe. Wow. It's kind of coming up on me there. But yeah, I think there's still bleachers there. If anybody in the comment section knows more than me, 15 people in the room, by the way. We're 5 away from me funneling a beer or doing a shot of Malort, which is the shot of the show. So would you rather go to Green Bay with the Cheeseheads in the Midwest in the freezing cold in December, watch Aaron Rodgers and his team play the history of Lambeau? Or would you rather go to the new darling of the NFL, has all the bells and whistles, in the city that has all the bells and whistles with the beautiful women, the beautiful weather and the beautiful people, which is SoFi Stadium? That's the home of the LA Rams and the Los Angeles Chargers. Do you want the old classic traditional NFL or do you want the new NFL? What do you guys tell me in the comments? For me, what would I rather? Absolutely, 100%. And I'm pretty sure everybody already knows the answer to this. I am going Lambeau Field. I want to go see Aaron Rodgers play. I want to be in that. And like when you're in Green Bay, guys, if you don't know anything about Green Bay, it's the smallest town in all of the NFL cities. I think, I don't know, there's maybe like 100,000 people. The entire town shuts down on Sundays. The entire town. There's no donuts. There's no gas. Maybe there's gas. But shuts down. Why? History, nostalgia, tradition, Vince Lombardi, right? Nate Lombardi. So that's what I'm choosing. I'm choosing Green Bay, Lambeau Field, absolutely 100%. What do we got? Any answers here? That's my boy, says Rob Albanese. Green Bay all day, my brother, you're damn right. Was there before the renovation, but so flipping cold that a guy in front of me puked peppermint schnapps and that it froze? It froze on you or froze out of his mouth? That sounds like something from a Marvel movie. My friend Dave is going to do, Dave's TV is going to do, he's going to go old school stadium. I absolutely love it. Listen, the beer community is big on nostalgia. Green Bay, just to do a few shots of bourbon to keep warm. Nate's getting glassy-eyed, man. I was glassy-eyed at the beginning. It has to do with the light here. And I've been looking at my own eyes. I hate it. Thanks for calling it out. All right. So on to the next one. I took a little bit too much time there. We got to move. So what would you rather? Would you rather play offense? Right there's a bit of offense. The offense is the side of the ball that scores the points. They score the touchdowns or the field goals. They've got wide receivers, quarterbacks, halfbacks, fullbacks, tight ends, guards, centers. They're all trying to score. It's the sexy part of the game. People want to see offense. They want high scores. They want the 2017 Super Bowl with the Eagles and the Patriots. They want Nick Foles to outduel Tom Brady. They don't want Ray Lewis to outduel, I don't know, TJ Watt, right? They want to see offense. Would you rather be the offense or would you rather be the defense? Less notoriety, less sexiness, but hard-nosed grit. You got to stop the offense. You got to get in their face. You got to talk shit. You got to make them uncomfortable. So what do you guys prefer? Do you prefer the offensive side of the NFL or the defensive side? Now, I struggle with this because I want to see excitement in the game, but I am a bit old school, and the old Philadelphia Eagles with Jim Johnson brought attitude and defense. Buddy Ryan, attitude and defense. Bill Belichick, attitude and defense. System. I like that more than I like the flair of individuality. So for me, I'm going to go defense. What do you guys say in the comment section here? Bernie says, right. Defense, baby, says my brother. Defense says Damien, I love it. Amazing question, says Mike Bernstein. Agreed. Defense, says Dave's TV. There can be excitement in defense. So you're absolutely right. An interception for a touchdown, a fumble recovery, a sack, tackle for a loss, interception. There's so much fun. It's just that we're geared towards offense, right? We want to see the excitement because the divas are on the outside. They're playing wide receiver, right? And they bring us a lot of excitement. We like that. But for me, I'm going defense. All right, next one. Here we go. We are going to the stadium. So I found a article about the best food in stadiums across the NFL. So as you can see from the Minnesota Vikings, US Bank Stadium, they got something called Purple Grip. Look at that thing. It's a taco. It's purple. Minnesota is known for Prince, partly, and the Purple People Eaters, partly. So it's only right to have one of the most iconic meals at US Bank Stadium pay homage. Purple tinged buttermilk pancakes are filled with tater tots, chives, sausage links, and bacon cream gravy. Damn. If that's not Americanized, I don't know what is. But very interesting, beautiful, and colorful. Would you rather the Purple Grip or from Los Angeles Chargers at the StubHub Center? Well, that's not really there anymore. At SoFi Stadium, the vegetarian BLT. If you were hoping for bacon, lettuce, and tomato, then this is not the sandwich for you. The Chargers BLT is loaded with arugula, grape tomato jam, and goat cheese on grilled sourdough bread. What do you guys think? Would you rather Purple Grip or vegetarian BLT? For me, it is not even a contest. Vegetarian BLT? No. If it was a real BLT, there might be a real argument, but there's vegetarians out there. That's okay. If you guys like that, then you vote for it. But for me, I am absolutely 110% going for the Purple Grip. I got to try that thing. I don't even like tater tots, but look at the cream inside that purple. Look at the cream inside that purple taco. Is what I was going to say. So I'm going to go Purple Grip. What are you guys thinking? Down here, we got Rob saying bleachers. That doesn't mean anything. Grit, easier to eat. Damn right. Purple. Thank you, Dave's TV. I'm taking the purple all day, says Beer in Front. Dave from Beer in Front. Jaw lock with a BLT. So there we go. A lot of people want to try the BLT, but I think, the purple. That's a t-shirt as well. Damn right. All right, here we go. Second to last one. Would you rather? All right, Rob, Brendan, Bernie, Dave. I'm sending you all out to the combine. You're going to Indianapolis. I don't know that they do it every year in Indianapolis anymore, but you're going to the combine. You're going to be on camera. You're going to be on ESPN. The entire country that loves football is going to be watching you. Do you want to run the 40-yard dash? Or do you want to bench press? Now, this is really difficult. So I think the bench press is 225. Okay. If you do not lift weights, you cannot get that up. If you don't run, you can walk the 40. So just remember that, right? Pretty much anybody that is able, no offense to anybody that's not, can run the 40 or walk the 40-yard dash. Not everybody can bench press. 225 pounds is a lot. It's 2 plates on each side, I think. 91, yep, right? So what would you rather do? Do the 40. You're going to look stupid. Telling you, you're going to be slow. Or try that where you can't even get one. Now, for those of you that are strong enough, that's great. What would you choose? For me, I'm absolutely, without a doubt, doing the 100 or 40-yard dash. I think I can get 1.5 up, maybe 2 up with that bench press, maybe, and not right now. I would need like a month to get myself into shape, which to many of you that work out are probably laughing at me when I say that, which I completely understand. But I would absolutely take the 40-yard dash. So what do we got from the people in the community here? Back up. You don't like tater tots? Purple. We're still on the purple. 40-yard dash, says Dave TV. Dave, I'd love to see you run the 40-yard dash. Brendan would embarrass himself from the 40. 40-yard dash from Damien the Fiend. I believe it. Damien, you're probably fast. I love it. Marie would like to see Brendan do the 40-yard dash. I would love to see Brendan do the 40-yard dash. If we can have a hot dog on a stick, maybe put it in front of his head, maybe he'll run faster. Dave from Beer in Front saying, I'm running under 5. You think you're running under 5? You think so? Are you taking a golf cart? I guess you probably need something better than a golf cart, right? Offense all day. Rob's a little bit lagging here, but score and score again. So I'm going to do the 40. Last one, guys. We got one more. What would you rather? Damn it. I see why it takes so long sometimes, right? Last one's going to be a little bit gross. Not really, but we're going to try something a little bit different. What would you rather? Would you rather be hit and concussed in an NFL game? Look at that shot that's being taken there. I don't know who those players are. One guy from the Detroit Lions, one guy from the Las Vegas Raiders, but he's getting absolutely smacked. And a concussion is a traumatic brain injury that affects your brain function. In the NFL, it's quite a big deal. We've got CTE issues and kind of PTSD kind of stuff going on. I don't know all the terminology. Please, if I'm offending anybody, I apologize. But it's an issue in the NFL. So would you rather be concussed? Or would you rather rupture your Achilles tendon? I was trying to figure out something else that was not an ACL, but something that was a little bit more niche, right? Would you rather be concussed or tear your Achilles? Now, here's some context there. A concussion, you can be ready and back in the game in a month. But the problem is, or in a week, but the problem is if you get another concussion, you can be done for good. When it comes to your Achilles tendon rupture, you probably have about 9 months to recover. You can come back. You can fully play. You're not, there's nothing going on up here that they got to worry about. But you have 9 months off. So would you rather the potential issue of CTE and concussions where you can be out of the game for the rest of your life, or would you rather a long-term injury like the Achilles tendon rupture? Philly has attitude regardless. Completely agree. That's why I love the Eagles. Dave from Beer in Front was fast in the day. Dave, I believe it. But right now, I'm not fast. I don't think neither are you. Concussed, says Bernie. Bernie, you would say concussed? Why? So you can get back sooner, but then you have risk that you need to get concussed again, and now you're done. At least you can get your Achilles sewed up. Pretty sure I'm walking concussion. So I agree. Concussion for Dave's TV. Snap the Achilles. Concussed is no fun. Thank you, Dave. Tear the Achilles. Brain injury is no joke. Exactly. There's a bigger thing at play here. Depression, confusion. I don't know what the other issues are with CTE, but seems to be pretty serious, right? LOL at Brandon. Okay, so I'm going to do the Achilles tendon. I'd rather rupture that. I'd rather wait 9 months to go play again than have the potential of not being able to understand where I am and never play again. So Marie agrees, Achilles injury. That is the what would you rather, guys. Thank you so much. We need to move. I need to get the next beer up. Let me get this done here. So, as we were talking, there's 3 different parts of an NFL Sunday. We've already done Anchor Little Weekend for the early games. We've done the Excited State by Abel Baker for the mid-round games. There's about 5 of them. And the last one is Sunday Night Football. 1 game, 2 teams. Everybody's watching it. Everybody's focused. If you're on the West Coast, it starts about 5:25. So there's a big difference here. If you're on the East Coast, it starts at 8:25. So what beer do you drink to close out the day? You still got to go to work tomorrow. You got to be functional. Are you really going to go to a triple IPA at 12%? Maybe. If you're going to do it, now's the time. But it's a knockout punch. You'll likely be asleep by halftime. But what I thought of was something a little bit lower in ABV. And I'm going to go back to the ale side of fermentation. Okay. We're going to do a beer. And Bernie, you're still on the show. This is out of Longmont, Colorado. One of the more popular pale ales in the country. You can find this in a lot of places. Certainly Total Wine, your local grocer. And if you're on the West Coast or if you are Mississippi West, you definitely can find it. And that is Dale's Pale Ale from Oscar Blues. Again, red, white, and blue. Super American, right? I hate to bring the machismo, but I got to do it from time to time. Dale's Pale Ale is a really good offering. This one checks in or clocks in at 6.5%. So we elevated the ABV. We're not sitting down at 3.7 or 5. We're up to 6.5%, but it's still not a knockout punch. So you all know what we do. Crack them, smell them, taste them. I'm going to get this nice IPA glass out. Pretty cool. Not really an IPA. It's a pale ale, but we're going to crack it. Woo. Oh, there it is again. Why is that happening? They've been sitting here for like 2 hours. Boom. I'm going to let this thing kind of do its thing for a minute here. But you know the drill. We got to crack them, smell them, taste them. I can already smell this. Right? It's not even anywhere near my face. But with all of that foam, it's just kind of going through the room here. Right? There's a bit of bitterness on the nose, which I know probably sounds weird, but there's a bit of bitterness there. Definitely hop forward. Fruity hops. A bit of malt, right? There's a bit of bread, but it's definitely pine. Like I'm definitely getting that classic pale ale, almost like a Sierra Nevada. So I kind of put that up there with the Sierra Nevada pale ale is the Dale's. I don't know if it's quite as good from a notoriety perspective. It's certainly not, but it's like creeping up. It's becoming one of those go-to beers for Americans when it comes to the pale ale, which is a 6.5. Pale ale is typically going to be somewhere between 5.5% and 7%. 5.5 to 6.5. 100% accurate on this beer. Thank you, Bernie. So, Bernie, I think you're talking about Dale's Pale Ale, right? Yeah, it's a really good beer. It's a really good offering. I've had 14 concussions. You sound like it, but I know you haven't. All right, on the nose, told you, cereal, malt, pine, toasted malt, definitely. It's a really nice, crisp tasting beer. Wow. Okay. This is the best beer out of the 3 of them, right off the rip. It's not even close. But it's definitely, the pale ale, right? So it's not an Indian pale ale. It's not overly hoppy, right? Didn't have to take that journey from India to the UK or to England, right? So it's a little bit less pungent, but definitely there's some caramel notes in there, which you're getting from the toast of the malt, right? There's citrus. A bit of pepper again. That's just a classic ale. It's almost like an ESB. If you don't know an ESB, that's an English special bitter. It's very close to that, but it's not overly bitter. Bitter is not necessarily overly bitter, but I like this. Definitely fruit in that hops. Okay, so we're going to go real quickly right to the brewery tour. Boom. And what are we talking about? Sunday Night Football. Now that I'm drinking this, I'm wondering, depends on how many you've had before, maybe this might be too light. You might want the knockout punch, depending on who you are, depending on what your situation is at home. You might want that knockout punch, right? But for 6.5%, this is a pretty good beer, right? So again, we were talking about Sunday Night Football. The early games, there's 9 of them. Mid games, there's 4 or 5. And then when you get to Sunday Night Football, the entire country watches it. 2 teams, 1 game, Sunday. I just accidentally clicked out of that hole. How did I do that? Didn't do it on purpose. Sorry, guys. All right, we're going to bring that up. Give you 1 second. Sunday drinks. I told you I was going to have some kind of issue on the show. All right, here we go. Oscar Blues. Check out their credentials there. I didn't change them. Another miss by Nate. But Oscar Blues, they're from Longmont, Colorado. There's Colorado in the Midwest of the country. They're known for the mountainous region of the Rockies. My friend Mike Bernstein, he actually lives in Colorado. I think he's having the time of his life. He loves it in Colorado. Great kind of laid back type of area. Very, very scenic, very beer centric. Great place to go visit. If you're not from the States, please check out Colorado if you have the opportunity. Longmont is in the north part of the state. Today's beer is Dale's Pale Ale. It's an American pale ale that clocks in about 6.5%. Untapped rating, those are real. 311.5 thousand reviews at a score of 3.63. And in my opinion, when you have that many reviews, that's a good score. It's just a good score. If you're at 3.63 and you've got 200 reviews from local people, there can be some bias there, right? But this is unbiased, 311,000 people. So 3.63, solid score. Big fan of this beer. Going to go over here very quickly. So Dale's Pale Ale. Dale's Pale Ale is our defiant, proud, voluminously hopped mother of a pale ale. If you're looking for a fistful of flavor, look no further than this hopped up trail ride. It delivers a hoppy nose and assertive but balanced flavors of pale malts and citrusy floral hops from the first sip to the final swig. 6.5% ABV and 65 IBUs. IBUs, for you that don't know, it is the International Bitter Unit. That tells you how bitter a beer is. Dale's Pale Ale is beer that started it all. Oscar Blues launched our canning ops in 2002, 20 years ago, brewing and hand canning Dale's Pale Ale in our Funky Lions. America's first craft can mountain pale ale is a hearty, critically acclaimed trailblazer that changed the way beer fiends perceive craft beer. Dale's is the original craft beer in a can, hands down, bottoms up. Love that. Rookie nerves when you grab the brew, shakes it up. That's not what I did. You're late again, by the way. Xi Jinping, how you doing, man? Always love having the president of China on the show. Thank you so much for showing. Ni hao. Zaijian. All right. What is Dale's Pale Ale? We already went through this. Just want to kind of share it. Why is Dale's Pale Ale so popular? It's popular because 1, the beer is good. And 2, it revolutionized how we drink craft beer today. It's not the highest rated beer on Beer Advocate. It has a score of 87 out of 100. It's pretty good. But reviewers and drinker gives it props for being a reliable brew. Just like the craft beer movement itself, Oscar Blues doesn't care what others think. When beer was more wet than flavor, I like that, by the way, more wet than flavor. That makes sense. There was Oscar Blues. When beer came in bottles, there was Dale's Pale Ale. The no shits given attitude is exactly what makes Dale's Pale Ale a worthwhile beer, and it helps that beer is good. So, guys, right there it is. It's time to go to the scoring. We're 4 minutes over. I tried to get it done in 1 hour. I think we can do it in an hour and 10 minutes. Boom. Love the beer. Man, it's just traditional, man. Like, it's classic. Taste, price, style, notoriety, accessibility, X overall. All right. So for the taste, I'm going to go pretty high in this. I really like it. I'm going to go 4.0. I think it's a good tasting pale ale. Pale ale is a segment of beer that I really, really enjoy. Not too heavy, not too boozy, has a malt backbone character to it with a decent amount of hops. This is a mountain style IPA, which is getting a little bit of tropical nose to it from the style of hops that they use, but it's not going to be overly boozy or anything like that. This is not an 8% beer. This is a really nice beer at 6.5%, 4.0. Price is $1.49 for a can of this. How can I do anything other than a 5.0? It's not a macro. You can buy it in a lot of places, right? It's available. It's 6.5% and $1.49 for a 6-pack. That's $9, right? So $9 for like a Bud Light is kind of what they're going for now. So why would you not go for this? It's a way better beer. Price? I put 3.5. I'm going to 4.5. That's a good price. Style. All right. When it comes to the style of this beer, I'm not the biggest fan. Not going to lie. I'm just Ginta, how you doing? Danny's not here today, but I know that he misses you. So happy that you're able to join the show. He'll be here next week. He's traveling back from Saigon to Vietnam. Craig Anderson, holy shit. Craig, what's going on, man? I haven't talked to you in about 20 years, but thank you for joining the show. Thank you for the beautiful comment. Let's go Eagles. Hope all's well, Craig. I don't even know where you live anymore. Message me. Hope all's well. Style, not the biggest fan, right? It's kind of like, I like the red, white, and blue. It doesn't tell a story, and it's kind of understated. I'm going to go 2.0. Notoriety, I got to give them a good score here. The accessibility is there from a notoriety perspective. If you're on the central part of the country, the Midwest, West, you know about this beer. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. X Factor, NFL opening weekend, a beer I really enjoy, red, white, and blue, pro-America, pretty cool with that. I'm going to go 3.0 on the X Factor. Overall, 6, 4.5, 10.5, 15. And 18 is the score. We went from a 16.5 to a 17 to an 18 with Dale's Pale Ale taking the victory today for the NFL's opening weekend battle for beer. Remind new viewers when the show airs. Thank you, Bernie. This show does air every single weekend. Typically, we air at 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings Pacific Standard Time, but we're trying to figure out the timing, especially with football season. We might make a decision to kind of go at this time slot because look at the volume here. It's making more sense. 7 o'clock works on a Saturday, so we'll talk about it. Thank you so much for asking the question. What is Dan doing in Vietnam? He seems to be having fun. Glad to see you are still going strong with the show. Thank you so much. He's just visiting, seeing some friends. He's a massive guy, or he's a guy that's massively into travel. He loves Vietnam. I've been there several times before as well. We're big fans of Asia. We spent a lot of time there. So he's just going over there doing his travel thing, and super excited for him. He'll be back today. Stronger the beer, better the score. Yeah, it's funny how that works. Do you have any social media handles we can follow? You can absolutely follow us. Bernie, you're awesome. Can I have you as the producer, by the way? Are you free every Saturday? So you can check us out on Twitter at Weekly Beer Show, Danny's Facebook page at Danny Soleil, Instagram, Weekly Beer Show, and Travel Man Dan. Those are all the places you can find us. As a matter of fact, we need to be putting that on the show. Thank you, Bernie. Appreciate it. So we are going to wrap up the show here. I've got 2 more things I want to share with you guys before we go. One of them is What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Okay. We've got a dice. 1 is reading, 2 is watching, 3 is listening to. And I'm not prepared for it. Give me 1 second. As soon as I logged out of this thing before, it screwed everything up. Sorry about that, guys. All right, rolling the dice. What am I watching? Right now, I am watching still is the Formula One documentary on Netflix. I think it's called Need for Speed, but I forget. I'm just getting myself into Formula One. Love it. Probably going to go team Porsche or team. Who am I thinking of? I forget. McLaren, maybe? I forget. Anyway, last thing we want to do here is we want to do the quote of the week. Since we're talking about football, we're going to go to an old school gentleman who recently passed back in 2021, but probably one of the biggest icons in NFL history. That person is John Madden. Love this quote by him. Self-praise is for losers. It's a little aggressive. Self-praise is for losers. Be a winner. Stand for something. Always have class and be humble. I thought that this quote was kind of, right now, the way that we are societally, I believe that this way of thinking or ideology is kind of slipping away from us, right? We believe more in ourselves. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I do appreciate the traditional view of being humble, not self-promoting. I believe it's a fool's errand when you do that. Just be solid in your beliefs and your systems and what you believe in, and be good to other people. I think that's enough. So I really love this quote. Self-praise is for losers. Be a winner. Stand for something. Always have class to be humble. That is our friend, John Madden. Awesome guy. Recently passed away, but an NFL icon. Guys, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. My name is Nate Lombardi. We'll see what my name is next week. I wish our co-host Danny was here. Travelman Dan's on his way back from Saigon. We've got a couple of more comments here. Great show for my mom. Thank you so much. Jazz hands. Here's Damien the Fiend. Malord shot. Would you like me to do one? You got 5 seconds. Mike Bernstein, what if it lands on 4-6? I don't know. We can figure it out. So good, says Bernie. Scary movie, says my mom. Ginta is in Chile again. So join the thank you so much for joining from Chile. How awesome is that? Thank you for my brother. Great job for my brother. Thank you, guys. Listen, I am not Danny. I am not Travelman Dan. Loved doing the show today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to try and take us off the show the way that Travelman Dan does. And remember, it's a big world out there. Make sure you see every bit of it. See you guys next week. Danny will be here. Thank you all for joining. Great show.